On stage, our guest of honor, Mr. Harish Mehta, founder chairman of NASCOM and executive chairman of Onward Technologies Limited, to share his thoughts with us.
Thank you. Where is Alok? Right there. So how much time I have now? Only 8:45. Alok said you can take as much time as you want. And I don't have a piece of paper, so you can imagine how far I can go on. So please stop me if I exceed the time here. Friends, we saw Anishaji's presentation, and on the first slide, I saw it at least, between 1991 and 2020, there was a gap. Nothing much was shown. It showed startup revolution at that time, and 91 it showed reforms. So what happened during these 25, 30 years? That's the story I'm going to talk to you. And that's a story where there are so many lessons for all of us, which I call it Maverick Mindset, which is written in my book, which help us accelerate India to reach the golden state, or I call it Soneki Chidiya version 2.0, as early as possible. So let me start. Where were we in 91? Many of you would remember we were bankrupt on foreign exchange. We were known as a snake charmer's country. We were known as a fakir's country. From there in 25, 30 years today, India has emerged as a global tech powerhouse, fifth largest economy. How did it happen? Who gave that economic independence to India during these 25, 30 years? Let me give some statistics. Okay, Dr. Sumantra Gosal of London School of Economics, he used to say that 1,000 years of downward economic spiral of India was arrested by NASCOM-led IT revolution in India. Now, let me give you some numbers here. This year, our industry earned $250 billion. $200 billion in foreign exchange. It is as much as Saudi Arabia earns in foreign exchange. The difference is, in Saudi Arabia, money goes in one account, while in India, through hundreds of accounts, in millions of employees' accounts, money flows in the economy, which today employs 5.3 million high-paying engineers. Now, this each individual, on an average, employs 4 to 5 additional people in the industry, because these engineers, they've migrated from two-wheelers to a car, from tier 2 to tier 1 cities. They changed their entire lifestyle, their consumption patterns changed, real estate malls came up, real estate complexes came up, pockets of excellence started coming up in the country, which is roughly supporting today twice the population of UK in India. That's the contribution of the IT industry in the last 30 years. Over the last 20 years, IT industry has earned $1 trillion of foreign exchange. One economist I asked, why do you think India changed? And he said, smartphones made the change. I said, but how did you import the smartphones? Who paid for it? And there was no answer to it. And if you look at this $200 billion of foreign exchange earnings that our industry has, I'm not counting the remittances given by Indian IT engineers around the world. I'm not counting the FDI inflow into the economy because of our industry. So that's the financial contribution. Look at cultural change. I'm sure many of you come from the finance industry. You know that who set the corporate standards of excellence in India? It was IT industry. The quarterly reports and the annual reports were of world-class standard way back in the mid-90s. And that's started building India brand as a trusted nation globally. And the FDI money started flowing not only in our industry, but all other industries. And also the rules and regulations changed where SEBI and other organizations tightened more norms for corporate reporting. And now, as you were saying, we're very healthy corporate system in the country today. If you look at this 5.3 million engineers, 40% are women. We have 2 million women engineers earning high-paying money. Now, what does it mean? When this woman gets good money in their hand at their home, how they are going to bring up their children, how they're going to contribute to the local community, how they're going to contribute to the work that their environment where they are in. To me, it is a silent revolution taking place behind. Almost you can say a new middle class has born in the country, and it is continuously growing. What about, I'll do another story, what impact it has on Indians abroad. About 15 years back, I was on my way to attend a TICON, one of the annual conference of entrepreneurs at San Jose. My taxi driver was a mid-aged Sardar. So he asked me, "आप कहाँ से आए हैं?" So I said, "I'm from Mumbai." "आप कौन सी industry में हैं?" I said, "Software industry." So suddenly he said, "आपने हमें इज्जत दिलाई है." So I am scratching my head. I said, "What have our industry or we have done to provide pride to this mid-aged person?" So I asked him, "Why are you saying it?" He said, "Now, any American who travels my taxi, he or she thinks I'm a PhD student doing part-time taxi driving. And the place where I live, suddenly my brand as an Indian has moved up because it's a minority areas where he was living in." So then we realized the impact of our industry on the pride as an Indian, not only within India, but outside India also. Now, how did this change happen? What are the leadership lessons from there? Again, I'll tell you a story here. Hopefully, that will give you lots of ideas about in future, how we imbibe these lessons and implement in whatever we do as we move forward. Again, the story goes back to in the early 90s. Alok, please stop me whenever I'm going. There was a time when multinationals wanted to come to India. They said, will NASSCOM support MNCs to have 100% ownership for the back office operations? That time, MNCs were not allowed to own more than 40% equity. 15 years before, during Fernandes times, they dropped the equity requirement to 40, maximum you can have is. But seeing the work our industry was doing in the late 80s, they felt we can also set up our operations in India. So they asked us, would you recommend to government to allow 100% ownership? So in our executive council, you have Mr. Kohli, Mr. Narayan Murthy, Azim, and many other stalwarts of the industry sitting around a table discussing it. Should we allow or not? So someone said, why should we allow? We have natural protection. Why do you want your competitor to come here? Someone said, they'll take away our people paying double the salary. Why should we allow? Somebody said, the business that we are doing with them under the garb of back office, they'll take it away. Why should we allow? But because we had, by design, 4 years before that, while building the NASSCOM as a platform, we had said it will be an independent, neutral, transparent platform where small, large, product, service, all these kind of companies, CEOs can sit together and talk freely without the fear of celebrity icons or X, Y, and Z. So in that process of discussion, when somebody said, but today we are too young, all our quality processes are homegrown. If they come to India, we will learn from them. Competition is the best guru. So many said then, that makes sense. We can learn a lot because that will build our brand if we have those processes. At that time, the total global outsourcing market was $300 billion. And we were hardly at, you can say, $100 million. So we see the huge potential. Of course, there were hundreds of regulations choking the industry. That's another part. I'm not going to get into that, how we worked on it. But the GCCs wanted to come. And so we said, what do we do now? Should we allow or not allow? Then discussion went back and forth. It came for a year it went on. At that time, somebody said, in the US, there was a debate at that time, who is us? Is IBM, Motorola, Whirlpool us? Or is it Sony, Honda, Panasonic us? There was a big debate in US at that time because of the inroads Japanese companies were making. So same question came up at NASSCOM. Who is us? And somebody at that time said, I don't know who, that whoever develops human capital of India is us. And who doesn't, even in an Indian company, is not us. Everybody jumped at it. Oh, this makes big sense. will MNCs develop human capital of India? Answer was obviously yes. So then why not we support them? Again, we went back to everybody, Mr. Kohli, Mr. Murthy, Azim, all the other players. Do you support MNCs to come to India? Do you want your competitors to come to India? And everyone supported. We went to Dr. Manmohan Singh, gave a proposal, you allow 100% ownership. One reaction from one of the finance person was, वापस इस इंडिया की जैसे देश को बेचने आ गए आप. Somebody said, आप किसके दलाल हो? But we were ready with data, facts, analysis, our vision about the industry, and Dr. Manmohan Singh accepted our proposal, and he allowed 100% ownership for MNCs to come to India. Now, that single decision today has 1,800 R&D centers in India, employing 1.2 million engineers, earning $35 billion of foreign exchange. And we are seeing it will go to $100 billion over the next 5-7 years. That's the contribution of that single decision. Now, what are the leadership lessons from here? You can see that fiercely competing companies or their CEOs came together on a table, kept India first, with single voice, creative juices flowing to solve the problem, identifying a signal from the noise, and having the courage to go to the government and recommend that. So that's the power of, and that is what I call maverick effect, how this NASSCOM has been working. And that is just one example. And in my book, Maverick Effect, I have given a number of such examples, how this maverick effect led to big change in India. Take, for example, NASSCOM. In those days, when we used to meet a customer, prospect, let's say, in USA, they looked at us and said, you are a thief. And because in India, we believe in right to copy, not in copyright. So that was the brand India had at that time. So we had a tough time because they were afraid that if they part with the data and programs to us, we will go and sell it to the competitor next day. So they were not trusting us. So we got the Copyright Act modified to add word software in it. And that was the more stringent at that time than UK, that particular act. Anyway, so coming back, there are many such stories, but the fundamental point is that we created a NASSCOM as a platform which is independent, neutral, trustworthy, where fierce competitors can come together and discuss keeping India first with single voice and whatnot. And it is such a powerful model now that when about 10, 15 years back, China wanted to compete with India in tech services, they appointed Forrester as an agency to develop a master plan, how they become number one globally. And John McCarthy, CEO of Forrester, said, if you want to compete with India, you first create NASSCOM equivalent organization on your side. I have not seen anywhere in the world, IBM, Capgemini, Accenture, TCS, Wipro, Infosys, all sitting around a table, keeping India first and solving industry problems. So that's the maverick mindset. And that's the maverick mindset I recommend all of you to imbibe. There are enough articles will come out and many other papers will come out explaining what is the secret sauce or how that secret sauce works. So I wish that, I believe very strongly, Alok, that today we are in a world where we call it technology is a bottled lightning. It's our job to convert that light, make that lightning work for us. Yes, lightning is both, you can say, illuminates as well as it destroys. So we need to follow Mr. Shailesh Hari Bhakti always says, R.I.S.E values, that is responsible, inclusive, sustainable, eco-friendly. As a business model should be built into those values and we move forward. And I'm sure we'll achieve our dream of Soniki Chiriya was in 2 daughters as early as possible. Thank you very much.